All right, this bubble effect resin tray finally gets a buddy. Howdy Howdy, this is Clara Lawrence. And yes, that's Smog. She's our new kitten that, well, she was making it a little difficult for me to draw, but that's okay. Anyway, I wanted to talk through some of the drawings that I do on my trays that you guys see periodically. This particular marker that I'm using right now is super helpful. It works really good on resin trays. It's actually a chalk marker, and I can do a rough layout of, you know, where I want the drawing to go, maybe even figure out motions of it. And it's really easy to erase. I mean, all you gotta do is wipe it off with a paper towel. If you need it completely clean, just get the paper towel a little bit wet with water, and that stuff comes off really well. But a lot of times you'll see me just do a black outline immediately over that. And to be honest with you, when I'm doing this part of it, I'm kind of taking that design and refining it a little bit more. And I know when I wipe it off, it actually puts a little bit of a white coating on the black marker. You'll see me go back over it and even, you know, thicken up the lines and such like that. But I'm okay with that because sometimes it allows me that other opportunity to start refining the design a little bit. And see, I'm wiping it off there and it gets almost like a little milky. But I'm using butt a lot. Sorry. Anyway, I used to be an illustrator and graphic designer. I guess I still am an illustrator. So I use a lot of the same techniques with my drawings that I used to do with illustration. I don't know if you want to call them lino cut lines. I like a lot of like rougher lines, especially on the outlines and such. Very much into kind of this simple type of illustrative lines, and then adding more detail with shading, and just depending on the particular character, it can have a whole lot of shading or it can be very simplistic. So this is a little bit more simplistic, and further down the video I'm going to be adding and playing around with more color to try to bring him out a little bit more. I'm using a lot in this video. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, back to the tray itself. This is a tray I did a long time ago. I did a bubble technique on the tray with resin. So it's got a lot of different colors in there. While the resin was wet, I put some bubbles in it, and it's a fast curing resin. So by doing it in the combination with the fast curing resin, when the bubbles pop, it leaves a texture behind. And then I put a couple flood coats on it to get it nice and level. But with the scaly kind of look to the piece, I wanted something kind of special. And I think it was so interesting that it's like, I needed to have just the right image. So my brain needed to percolate on it. So I put it to the side, and sure enough, I picked it up a couple days ago, and it's like, just started working on it. With the white and the copper kind of feeling in the background, it's like I wanted to incorporate more metallic-y kind of colors. So I ended up going with a lot of the gold and the chrome. And even after that, and it sat for a day, I still wanted a little bit more to separate, to add that contrast. And went in a little bit more and added some kind of some violet and purples, and there's a little bit of interference there, and then a little bit of pearl with the teeth and such to pop them out from the resin tray. So when this is all dry, and I add the resin on top of it, a nice clear coat of resin, it'll pop really well together. But I just wanted to talk through that process. So the paint that I'm applying is golden paint, and it's highly pigmented. But the way I was applying it, I wanted it to be a little bit transparent, so you get a little of the resin coming through it. You can see it when you look straight down on it. It'll even become more apparent when the resin coat is on top of that. Some of the areas where like light would hit, like on the top of the head and the top of the teeth or the jawline or something like that, I go in with a little bit more paint, and play with the highlights of it a bit. So it still overall has a very illustrative type of feel to it. I even played around a little bit with the teeth to create some texture, and just not a lot for realism, but more of a kind of a playful illustrative type of style to it. I really like the way he turned out. What do you guys think? If you stuck with me this long, and I know it wasn't that long of a video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I'm also going to put a link at the end of this, or I should say a little screen capture at the end of this, and it'll have my playlist for the other dragons I've done. Later, y'all.